Hi, welcome back to Mac Studio, and today I'm going to be painting Hellboy. Let's get it. Right here, going to be painting all the skin pieces, but as you can see, that paint is way too liquidy, so let's wipe that off, try something new. Again, just not liking how that's going down. It's way too watery, so wipe that off. And third time's the charm. And that's okay. Sometimes you have to start over. This model got me very, very frustrated. It's beautifully sculpted, but not really the best modeled. I wish certain pieces came like sliced up differently. I'm very new to this, so I'm sure somebody more skilled or has more experience could have done it, but this model was getting me very frustrated, and you'll be able to see a little bit later down the road. Putting that base red on all of his body parts, so his head, chest, arms, and his legs. This is the piece that really got me frustrated. I wish his coat and his tail were completely separate from his legs. It made it very difficult to get into places and paint, and you'll see later down the video I started cutting corners, getting a little sloppy, but I eventually turned around a little bit. So mix those three colors for the highlight. I wanted a very nice bright red with an orange tint. Spraying from the top down, catching all those raised edges for the highlight. Mix these three reds for the shadow, which is a normal red, a little bit of a darker red, and then this whole red from Vallejo. It almost has a brown tint to it, but ended up making a very nice shadow color. Spraying from the bottom up, catching all the raised edges from the bottom, so it's giving you that shadow effect. Right here, I just wanted a little bit more shadow detail, so I'm going through with a brush and using my shadow color, made it into a wash, and I'm just putting it in there and then dabbing it off. Look at that little spiral that came off on the sponge. Right here, mixing these two colors from Citadel, rat skin flesh and the fire, dragon fire something. I'll leave it down in the description. But mix those two together and dry brushing it over the right hand of Doom. I think it gave it a really nice stone effect, dry brushing this, making all the cracks and everything really pop. I love how that turned out. Right here, breaking out the good old silly putty for masking, covering up his chest so we can get the coat painted. Silly putty is my absolute favorite method of masking. Again, it doesn't stick to the model. You can sculpt it and push it into the edges like I'm doing right there. And yeah, it just comes off really easy. Sometimes you do have to go through and paint the edges by hand, and you'll see later in the video I do that. So for the coat, using that light brown and just a tiny bit of that dark brown. And I really should have just put the model down at this point. I was getting very frustrated. My airbrush was not really pushing out the paint how it normally does. Really should have just taken it apart and done a deep clean, but I just wanted to get this model done. So breaking out the wet palette, just dump the paint that was in the airbrush onto the wet palette, going through and cleaning up those edges. Now, because it is airbrush paint, I did have to go through and do multiple layers. Right here, masked up the arms and painting the sleeves of his coat, same thing. Silly putty on everything I don't want to get overspray on. And then you'll see how easy it comes off. Right here, time to peel the silly putty off. It's always really satisfying seeing those nice clean edges. Again, going back to this middle lower body piece, absolutely infuriating painting this. My airbrush wasn't working properly. The coat was getting in the way of the tail was getting in the way of the coat, the legs were getting in the way, just everything. Very, very frustrating. Ended up going back with just a paintbrush and painting the coat. As you can see, I had a huge blast of water come out of my airbrush, and very frustrating. This is where I started getting a little sloppy and just discouraged. Mixed up this color with browns, some green, and a little bit of black for his pants. And I think I painted his boots the same color as well. Right here, using a light brown to paint his belt. Most of the time, if you guys remember from the Ninja Turtle video, I said I always do leather in that cocoa bean color, and for some reason I just wanted to switch it up today. I don't hate how it turned out, but I might go back and put the cocoa bean back on. Using the bronze to paint in all of his buckles on the belt. Going through with a very dark brown wash just to dirty up his coat. I didn't like how clean it looked, so I'm just going through, dabbing it off with a sponge, and then boom, looks all dirty. Time to complete the head. Now, this head was also very frustrating. You'll see in a little bit. All right, time to paint the teeth. Look at that. visual frustration. So turn the camera off, got real close, painted the teeth, and model is done. Right, thank you guys for joining. Really sorry about the poor quality video. It's very rushed. The model was very rushed. Just everything was very rushed. I knew I could have done better on the model. So that's why I was even debating not posting it. But I promise next week's model, it's going to be way better. Super excited. It's one of my favorite characters of all time for next week's model. So, guys who want to see that, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.